Hey guys, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year's Eve, Happy Holidays, and wish you all the best. As you know, I'm flying tonight to Mexico with the Chess Bras. We're gonna be in Tulum, and hopefully it's gonna be great there. I just want to show you, like, finally I got a chance to play some real over-the-board Bishop's opening games. And one was in a classic time control, like 90 minutes for the whole game with 30 seconds increment. And the other three games I just played in a rapid tournament, 15 minutes plus 10 seconds. Official rapid time control. So let's get started. You're going to see very high quality games. I won't make this video so long, so it should be entertaining, and it should just show you that the Bishop's Open can work absolutely on all kinds of levels. But here I played against 4 opponents, ranged from 1800 to 2250. So let's go. First game I played against a kid like 16 years old, who went for knight c6. I played knight c3 and played bishop c5. You know that this order of moves I gave in the course, and it's called copycat variation. I already made one video here about it. It's called something like Bishop's Opening. You can check it out, and you can find additional information about it. I believe it's queen g4, queen f6, that video all about. Here I played queen g4, and do you know what is interesting? As soon as you play queen g4, you're immediately a lot better. He went for g6. He went for g6 to defend the pawn on g7, and then I brought my queen back on f3, threatening pawn on f7. He played a very suspicious move, f6, that I don't like at all. He probably put all his hopes into the knight d4. There is only one important accuracy that you gotta find here. It's to prevent knight d4. I played knight g2, went for d6, I played d3, and he played a6, probably to keep this bishop for the time being. I played a3 for the same reason, to create a shelter, and a2 for my light square bishop, and played knight d4. No big deal, I captured, bishop captures, and I played castle. Take a look at this. This is a monster. I'm talking about the bishop on c4. They cannot develop this knight anywhere because they have problems, first of all, with the monstrous bishop on c4. Second thing, the knight on g8 looks pretty unhappily placed there. And on top of all that, the only developed piece is bishop d4, but it does nothing. My opponent went for h5, threatening bishop g4 to trap queen. Actually, he's not even trapping queen with the bishop g4, but let's just say he can hope for something afterwards. I played h3, matter of precaution, played c6, which is a nice move because he just wants to get some flexibility in the center. I played bishop e3. I want to take and bring my knight back on e2. Also, if he captures, I would just capture by f pawn and open f file. My opponent put a bishop back on a7. I captured, played queen e3, which reminds me of some Raza Lima positions where with tempo, like in this case, you just go with f4. I was completely winning after 15 moves. I won this game in the next couple of moves, and that's the way it is. I'm not going to show you like complete game, so I can make this a lecture a little bit more entertaining and a little bit better and easier for you. That was the first game. His rating was around 1800. Second game, I played against the guy. Of course, the rest and the other 3 games, the guys played knight f6. That's very interesting. So not only according to stats, but knight f6 is really way more popular than any other move. Although after knight f6, d3, I always play this bulletproof variation for a rapid and blitz, and for faster time controls, I suggest d4 with Urasov Gambit, and maybe to surprise your opponents. But d3 can be used, and by the way, it's been used by Caruana, Carlsen, Nepomniachtchi in the past, even in serious tournaments and some very important rapid competitions such as World a Blitz and Rapid Championship. So after D3, I'll show you two games. Two games with the bishop c5 that happened in both games, and one game that went for the main line in the course, c6 followed by d5. Let's first go with those two. This game actually with c6. When you play knight c6, you just develop knight f3. I once again have to emphasize that you're not threatening to take on e5. Please don't forget about that, because they would have this queen a5 check and you would lose the piece. No, you just develop piece and you'd like to put your king in a safety, in which case e5 is gonna be threatened with tempo. d5 and you just bring it back. Don't forget, they can never capture. Once again, please don't take on e5, but place your knight on g5 and they would have problems with the f7 pawn. My opponent went for a5 with an interesting move. He just wants to harass this bishop with a4. I said, okay, no big deal. I played a4. His rating was 2000. I played a4, of course, and now he was supposed to play bishop b4. That's what I told him after the game, because here, bishop d2 makes no sense, because bishop and b4 would be defended in comparison to the main line. So here I would have to play c3, and after bishop d6, if you analyzed these variations in the course, you just know he takes d5 with a bit better position. You played bishop d6. Any bishop d6, whether they do it here or immediately after bishop d3, you always face with the knight c3. Simply, your approach has to be attack on this center. And you know what? He took on e4. If I like to play against something that's d takes e4, I was expecting d4, in which case I would bring my knight on e2, transfer it to the king's side, and afterwards play castle, knight h4, with a normal play on the king's side. He took on e4. I was very happy when I saw that. I played knight g5, threatening this pawn on f7. And when he played like castles, I took on e4. When he captured, I recaptured, and now I'm threatening simple knight takes d6, short castle, and f4 to open up the game, f island to open up the game for the bishop pair. He played bishop e7, and I instantly moved my queen to h5. And I was hoping, now look at this, this is difficult. They play without a knight. You're threatening knight g5. Also, you threaten the pawn on e5, and it's not so easy. Let's just say this pawn on e5 can be taken as, I don't know, some threat at some point. You don't want to take on e5 and to give them initiative. Although they can play king h8 because you have this bishop and queen, so f7 is weak. And my opponent, out of nowhere, played probably the worst move. He played h6. Probably played h6 to stop knight g5 and bishop g5. But then I instantly came up with a bishop h6. It's a typical sacrifice, and once again, you can see an importance of the bishop and b3 in the bishop's opening. Do you know what? Remember in previous game, I ended up in a game like this with a monster bishop on c4. In this game, I sacrificed on h6, and after g takes h6, for all of you who missed the move, it's queen g6. Da-da-da-da. So now you see the point of this bishop and b3. You take advantage of these tactics, you take with tempo, and here I finish him in 2 moves in a very attractive fashion. I played h4 to play knight g5, and I prepared something very nice. He played knight d7 and I played rook to h3 and he resigned. But the thing was, what did I prepare after bishop f5? This is what I was expecting to happen in the game. I prepared this move. And that's nice. I already sacrificed the piece. Here, g file is mine. Whether I play long castle or king e2, rook g1 is unstoppable, checkmate. So this was second win with the bishop's opening in those 2 tournaments. Third win was against bishop c5. And then you play knight c3. Now d6. Both of these guys went for d6. I played f4. They went for knight c6. I played knight f3. And let me now show you the game. The guy with the black pieces was very strong in the following game. Name is Marinkovic, FIDE master, 2300, right now 2260. tournament game, 90 minutes plus 30 seconds, and he went for a6. Makes sense. He just wants to keep strong dark square bishop. And if you remember in the course, I suggested knight d5. An idea of knight d5 is to keep the flexibility of the center and to afterwards play c3. He played short castle. Once again, just to entertain you, I was expecting bishop e6. I don't know why did I expect this, but I always like to show this to everyone because it's not so, let's just say, obvious. You just take on f6, queen takes f6. You just harass this bishop. They say, what is this guy doing? I'm just taking here and da-da-da-da, bishop g5, you trap the queen. I was hoping for this, but he didn't fall for that. He played castle. You know what? It's very strong for us and very weak for them. After he made castle, I captured an f6 and played f5, threatening bishop g5 to trap the queen on the spot. He played knight e4. If bishop g5, knight takes f3, intermediary move. I played h4 to play bishop g5. And after quite a big thinking, he realized that if he ever plays any, I don't know, knight f3, queen f3, and h6, I wouldn't hesitate to go with g4 and g5, which is one of the crucial, and I believe from the course, initial ideas. And I would say highlight ideas of the course, how to create like attack on the king side. He went for d5, I captured, and he actually played c6. I brought it back, and you know what? When he played d5, I believe it's practically the only move to make some place for the queen, but he just gave up a healthy central pawn. So I captured, and after a c6, bishop b3, knight takes b3, a takes b3, rook e8, wants to go with some messy things like bishop takes f5 and e4. Queen e2 stops that and gives me even more. Bishop e3. After bishop d7, bishop e3, queen d6, I force him to take, and afterwards, with a pawn up, I managed to win this. And finally, I want to show you the third game, where after knight c6, knight c3, bishop c5, of course, I once again played f4, knight f3, and my opponent went for short castle. I believe that while I was making that course, I repeated so many times. The following short castle move seems so logical, but it's one of the most typical mistakes. My opponent is 2150 FIDE player, a very good player, and I crush him so easily. He went for a short castle. As soon as they do it, you play f5 for a couple of reasons. First of all, to kill this bishop, its activity, not to be able to ever do any harm to a monster bishop c4 in the bishop's opening, and it gives you bishop g5, even in some positions, some g4 ideas. My opponent went for knight e4. In a way, it makes sense, but from another point of view, it actually helps me a lot. I captured, and I brought my queen on f3 to prevent any c6 and d5 ideas, but at the same time to support g4 and g5 on pushing. He went for c6, I played g4, he played b5, and he played a5. He threatened a4 to trap this bishop. I played a4, brought my knight back to e2, attacking this bishop, and played g5. I like this position a lot. Once again, take a look at the bishop on b3. Importance of this bishop on the a2 g8 diagonal, and he just went for knight d7. I brought my queen on h5, and the thing is actually completely different. When I played queen h5, I threatened at some point, maybe you think g6, maybe you think f6, maybe something else. But immediately, as soon as I played queen h5, by the way, don't forget this was a rapid game, 15 minutes plus 10 seconds, I realized what should be my idea. My opponent played d5. He was probably so afraid of g6, but then I played rook f1. Very sneaky idea where he probably thinks, this guy still wants to do some f6. He played queen e8, and when I played the next move, rook f3, then he realized what was I going to do. I actually wanted to use ever since I played queen h5, this rook f1, rook f3, and rook h3 idea with a mate on the h file. He resigned the game after rook f3, and that's how I won the game. Quite an interesting fact. I played 4 games within 2 weeks. 1 tournament game, I won. 3 rapid games on 15 minutes, I won all those games. Not to mention blitz games, where I killed like bloody everyone. And it's good. It works really good, and I'm not just trying here to tell you like, hey, I don't know, you just have to do it, but I believe it's way more interesting than playing all those boring Rilapes or, let's just say, outdated like Scotch opening positions. So hopefully you enjoyed in this video, and you're going to have even more fun and better results and even more beautiful games than me in the Bishop's opening. Bye bye, guys.